Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. Hope you're all having a great week. We are wrapping up another relatively busy week with trading tomorrow, and we don't have a whole ton of schedule news, so only one name expected to report tonight, Broadcom. Not a single name tomorrow, but what will be interesting and what I'm going to talk about this video is there's actually another Biotech conference coming up, and it starts tomorrow, kicks off tomorrow, and there's actually a few names to watch. Could be some good action early tomorrow. So we're kind of in biotech conference season. You have a couple bigger ones. So ASCO was at the beginning of the month. You had Goldman Sachs during the weeks, the Goldman Sachs biotech conference during the week, and then you have EHA this weekend, which is the European Hematological Association conference. So these are companies that are working on blood disorders or certain diseases, right? And some years in the past, there's had some big movers, and actually there are a few that could be reasonably large movers as well. So I'm just going to talk about those pretty quick here. First up, GBT, Global Blood Therapeutics. So at this conference, they're going to be presenting the full phase 3 HOPE trial. And it's really like this is like their main pipeline project. This is basically everybody that's focused on the stock is focused on this readout. So it's going to be pretty significant. And just to give you an idea, options right now. So these are the June monthly options. So they go through next week, but right now, like the June straddle is looking for about 7.5 to 8 points, give or take. So about a 15% move, right? So that's definitely one. Maybe one of the maybe the biggest name on the radar going into this weekend. There's been a lot of option activity. There's a lot of size still left in the June expiration contract. So this is definitely one that you should have on your radar going into the week. I mean, technically, you can see, go back. So technically, you can see it's off its high from beginning of last year, well off its low. So it's kind of in no man's land technically, but it's definitely one that it's going to be impacted by this data and could be a pretty significant mover. So definitely keep an eye on that. Another one, Bluebird. So they're gonna have a couple presentations actually. BLUE. They're gonna have updated beta thalassemia and updated sickle cell. Although expectations aren't for as significant of a move off of this, like percentage wise. Right now, the Bluebird options they're a little bit thinner and there's not as much volume on them. But for the June contracts, they're looking for about a 12-point move. So about 10% is what's expected here. I've read a few analyst notes. There's a handful of people who aren't really expecting a significant move, but if it's surprisingly good, surprisingly bad, maybe you see a more sharp reaction, right? There's plenty of space above. It can get up through like this moving average congestion area in like the 130s to high 130s. So it could break in space above that, and underneath, obviously, there's plenty of room lower back down to like this key support area around 100. So technically, there seems to be room. Expectations aren't that high. Option pricing also isn't that high, but definitely a name to keep on your radar as well. Also, the last one that I'm going to be watching is Regeneron. So they're going to have this. This is earlier stage. This is phase one, but this is one of their bigger pipeline projects right now. It's not, the drug is the 1979, and this I this is so again. This is one of their in terms of people that are focused on this name. This is one of the more important drugs in their pipeline. So um, it's stock performance wise, you can say that maybe expectations are low because like the stock really has just gotten hammered and hasn't had much of a bounce. But actually, as it stands, the expectations are a little bit higher because like the data up until this point has been pretty impressive. So they're kind of in like a tough spot because the stock is acting pretty poorly, but expectations are a little bit higher. So it'd be it'd probably be more of a potential for a reaction to the downside. In case like they disappoint, bearish price action on the stock, right, forming a little pennant around 300. So bearish price action on the stock, higher expectations. If it does disappoint, it um, could be a little bit more ugly to the downside, right? So just to give you an idea of the options on this one. Uh, We'll go through the next week. So they may or may not give the data before the open tomorrow. So let's go through next week's June 21st expiration. So just to give you an idea, looking for about $12. That's the straddle for next week. And to me, like, that seems like one of the more interesting ones, just because tight technical setup, higher expectations, weaker price performance. It seems like it's kind of nearing like the pivotal make or break point of this pennant. So if good has room to rally. If bad and it breaks the low, there could be some serious downside. So of the three, I think that's the one that's most interesting to me. So definitely keep that on your radar as well. All right. So we are, like I've mentioned in these videos, we're kind of in a little bit quieter period of earnings. So we have made it through 98% of earnings, and now it's kind of like a little bit of a quieter stretch until the next quarter starts up at the beginning of July. So biotechs, right? The biotech events, there'll definitely be a focus. We'll have some major market events like FOMC next week, the G20 at the end of the month, and then it's just like it's a good stretch for some swings. We've had some really high volatility recently. There's been a lot of overall market movement, which is just conducive to swing trading. So still plenty to do. Catalyst may earnings catalyst will take a little back seat for the time being, but still plenty of other um, events to trade, and plenty of trade ideas out there. So stay tuned. All right. So hope you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.